What I'd like to talk about today is not part of established sales practice. So, this is not sound sales doctrine, if I can put it that way, but rather, this is just my own ideas on a couple of stuff. And this is a matter that pertains to photographers and videographers in particular. Not because I think it is a sin or something that I think photographers and videographers do, but because that is my core constituency. I mean, in the event space and in the wedding space, I mean, those are the folks I hang out with the most. After that, maybe wedding planners. But I don't think wedding planners are in the situation to commit this kind of sin that I have in mind. And yes, for me, I do regard it as a sin. But as the episode goes on, I'm sure you guys will listen to it and you'll think no big deal. But like I said, this is not established sales practice. And so this is not something that is unanimously this is not something that is unanimously advocated amongst the sales community. So feel free to disagree. This one is just my own particular opinion. And what I would like to talk about today is this whole thing of redesigning value when dealing with our potential customers, with our brides and grooms. Now, I've said a lot in the past about value in previous podcasts, about how value is determined by your clients and not by you. So that part actually is part of established sales practice. So if you're running around thinking that I'm doing A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for my clients, therefore I am very valuable, then that is not the case. If the customer doesn't agree that A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are indeed valuable. So in other words, if you're running around as a photographer saying that I do ABC for the clients, but the clients think that XYZ is what is valuable, then you haven't actually delivered value in the transaction. And so we should always be engaged with our clients. We should always be having conversations with them. We should always try and suss out what it is that they like, what it is that they found valuable, what it is that they would like to do again, what we should repeat, what we should stop doing, things like that. So, for some of you, you might accept that you take this intel and then you change your overall value offering. You change your photography style or your deliverables. Some people say no, that don't do that. But bottom line, you get the intel and use the feedback. So if you have it and you're only going to adapt it to this specific kind of client, in other words, now you know exactly what it is that Mrs. Ogedengbe finds valuable. So next time Mrs. Ogedengbe calls up and you go to the house for the portrait shoot, you know what works for her, so do what works for her. But then you keep on doing your own thing for the rest of the clients. Well, where was I? Okay, yeah, so I'm thinking that in the audiovisual community, photographers and videographers, that we need to redefine what it is that we find as valuable. So moving from the old premise that it's not about you, but it's about them, and so you take your cue from them, I'd like to take it a step further to talk about this whole nickel and diming that we do in the photography community. Now, the reason why this is something close to my heart is because I have had to accept quite recently, maybe within the last 4 or 5 years, that I might be interested in different genres of photography, but that my specialty is in doing documentary, candid stuff. And so I've tried to build a team around me of people who handle other things, the babies, what else? Babies, portrait shoots, what else? Stuff like that, advanced architecture shoots, things like that. I've tried to build a team around me that can handle those sorts of things. Oh, and then of course video. So now that my brother is no longer in the country and we haven't done any projects together, basically Shegun is now like my go-to video guy, and then there are other people that I work with. So now that I've had to start farming out some of my inquiries, it's become really obvious that we have different ideas about what's the best way to go about delivering value to the customer, satisfying the customer, fulfilling the order, and then things like that. So yeah, there have been issues of trying to bring about some level of uniformity in the whole process. So yes, it's my client, and I would like to have a say, pretty much 100% about how we're going to execute from A to B. from A to Z, but then to a certain extent also respecting the artistic, artistic integrity of the other photographer who has I've brought in to fulfill this customer vision. Anyway, so in the process of doing all this, there's something that I've noticed from my long-term customers, because I deal with them in a certain way where I try to maximize the value of every single shoot. So I come into a shoot thinking, let's say if it's going to be a home thing, I come into it thinking, how much can we achieve? So I'm trying to charge the maximum amount, and I'm trying to maximize the fullest time that I have with them. So the goal might be, let's go in and let's shoot Adekunle's 7-year-old birthday portraits. I want it done in the house. So it's a birthday, right? So I am thinking, why not charge the maximum amount, come in, and then say, okay, Momsy, while we're here doing Adekunle's portrait, it'll be a good idea to get one of you and hubby as well with Adekunle. Are the siblings back from boarding school? Let's let them have a shoot with Kunle as well. What of grandma? Okay, grandma and grandpa in the house. Let's throw that in. So basically, I'm charging you guys this amount, but I'm going to be there from 11 a.m. and let's just see how it goes. If we wrap up at 4, no wahala. If we wrap up at 5, no problem. But this is what I'm charging you. The primary thing that we're trying to get out of it is Kunle's 7th birthday photos, but I'm hoping to be able to provide you guys with some other useful images of grandma, grandpa, Kunle's siblings, and stuff like that. So that's been my own approach, basically, to try and maximize the value of the session. We're trying to get the most we can out of the session, and I try to charge accordingly. Now, I find that there are photographers that I refer some of my clients to who go the opposite direction, and videographers. So these photographers and videographers are trying to figure out what is the absolute least that I can do in this session so that I can maximize my profits. So they will be going in with the mindset of, okay, I'm charging this amount. It often is a lower amount because they're trying to be price sensitive or price competitive, and they're trying to limit it to exactly photos with Kunle only. And then they want to narrow it down to exactly how many clothes we're going to have with Kunle and how many photos. So I'm going there, and I'm only going to be there from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. sharp. Anything outside of that, you guys are just being an inconvenience and weighing me down, or I have to try to charge extra, or blah blah blah. So I refer to other people, and of course, this is not the way that the photographers or videographers will put it, but that is the way that the clients perceive it, that they are being nickel and dimed. And that does not lead to a very pleasant experience, even if you do a stellar job. Because you could do an absolutely, as in, correct job, but because they feel nickel and dimed, they just won't be happy with the photos. There's a way that it affects the whole experience. And I really think that we photographers and videographers need to stop trying to nickel and dime. We need to try and see how we can bring the fullest value to the session and then try and charge accordingly. So instead of saying, I'll do this thing for 30K, but we are only going to do 4 photos, full stop, nothing more than that, why not just try and see how you can make the sale for 80K, for instance, or 100K or whatever, and then see how much value that you can maximize from the session. Now, some of you who are cake people or decor people might say, if you do it this way, you're going to give away the whole shop. So yes, I know that it might not apply to you guys, but for photographers and videographers, we are service-based professionals. So there's a limit to, we don't have a shop, in quote, that we can give away. Now let's take it this way. This is something I pointed out to one of the photographers that I hang out with, who was nervous about me talking about stuff like this, thinking that if you do it this way, you and the bride are going to be there shooting forever. And so I pointed out to this guy that, look, let's be frank. These brides and grooms are not professional models, okay? So they might say, yes, we want to change our clothes 10 times. But let's face it, they will get there on the day, and the average bride and groom are going to get tired after you have done 3 changes, 4 changes. It is rare that I have met people that had the stamina to go 5, 6 changes. I have only had one couple do 6 changes since I started doing wedding photography. And even at that, the guy was tired, the groom was tired, but the bride was all gung ho about it, and she still wanted to continue. So let's face it, you can agree to that, you can talk to them, and they plan the whole world and everything and whatnot. But the average couple is going to get tired after about 3 or 4. If you've had my own experience, then maybe you might end up doing 6 looks. But the spirit behind the shoot is one of openness and possibilities, and let's see what we can explore. Like, you guys have already paid for my time, we might as well just maximize the value, rather than the spirit being, you guys have paid, I'm only going to be here for 30 minutes. This is only what it is that I'm going to deliver, and I'm only going to deliver small resolution copies. You're not going to get the full res copies, and blah 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 blah. So let's try and redefine what value is, and let's stop nickel and diming, because I really think it's giving a how do I put it? It's not presenting us in the best light, and I really think it's something that is hindering our marketability in the industry, because we already have a reputation for nickel and diming, and so when people call up, that's pretty much going to be their whole attitude anyway. Because they know that wedding photographers and videographers nickel and dime, they're going to call with the nickel and dime mindset, and then we're going to start having all those conversations of, where everything is turning on whether you have agreed to 3 changes versus 4 changes, and you will now start having arguments over what is the definition of full res versus low res. They say they want full resolution copies at whatever megapixels because they know that their friend went through a bad experience with another photographer, and then that becomes an issue. But for me, these are just things that I do not make an issue at all. So we're going to maximize the session. You're going to get all the usable images at the end of the day, and for the online link, it's going to be small res. But beyond that, you're going to get a flash drive of the full res, so that whatever it is you want to do, you want to make frames, you don't have to get the frames from me. I mean, if you want to get the frames from me, this is how much it's going to cost. If you want to try it out at the market, that's not a problem. Here are the photos. You can try UTC. You can get them done for cheap. Or you can try this other vendors or that other vendor. And I just try to maximize the value in the situation. And the funny thing is, since I have adopted that approach, I haven't been in the situation where, let's just say, most of my clients, they know that there's an option that they can go to UTC and get it done, but they'd rather just pay me to do it anyway. So, okay, well, I guess I've been talking for too long. We've gone past the 10-minute mark. But so, photographers, videographers, please, let's try and redefine value. Nicking and diming is not going to be profitable for us over the long term. So, it's not going to be easy, but in the beginning, just do your best to pretend that you want to give a lot to your customers. Don't make it obvious that you're trying to extract value or to try to limit value. And I guess the easiest way that I can use to show this are some wedding planners whose work I've been following, just because I'm interested in their business practice. Not like I know about their business practice per se, but from the outside, I'm just interested about how they conduct their business. So one of them is Queen gosh, I can't remember, is it Queen Kumara? I can't remember her business name anyway, but her name is Queen. We're supposed to have done one project together, well, that was a long time ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It didn't end up working, but I got to be exposed to her whole process, her talking to clients and then stuff like that, and I got the sense that she was trying to play up the other, the grandeur of what it is that she does. It wasn't about stuff that she could chip away, but it was about the extras that she could do so that everything can blow and everything can be wow and everything can be trendy and then everything can be relevant and take off on social media and then stuff like that. So for her, the conversation seemed to be about what was the extra that we can do. It wasn't about what it is that we can hack off. And then it's also something similar to Akin. I think I can't remember his own business name. I think it's Alvina Events. We've only done two things with him, but that was not photography related. That was with the photo booth, because my video guy Shagun, he has a photo booth. The photo booth, that's the machine that you set up, and then people go and take pictures with props and stuff like that. So we've done two of those with Akin Alvina. So, yeah, he's known for putting together weddings with over-the-top sophistication, and pretty much his approach seems to be the same. Like, what extra can we do? What else are we going to bring to the table to make this thing more grand, to make this thing more lush, to make this thing more sophisticated? And they charge accordingly. So, like I said, feel free to disagree. This is not established sales practice, but I think we're going to be better off longer thinking, how much value can we provide according to how the client sees it, and then how can we charge accordingly, rather than coming in with a low ball number because we want to be competitive. Because we assume that they're talking to 3 or 4 other photographers, so we want our price to be low, and then because the price is low, we come in from the beginning and the whole conversation starts turning around what can we hack off. Right from the beginning, you're talking about how, no, I'm only going to be there from 11 to 2. I'm not going to be there at 2:05. If I'm there 2:05, 2:10, you guys have to pay extra. And you have to start talking about this whole thing of watermarked or no watermarked, full res or low res or mid res, and all these other things, and then you just get lost in all these protracted conversations and negotiations. Anyway, like I said, that's just me, so feel free to disagree. But yeah, let's try and redefine value. So thank you very much for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based sales consultant and media event professional, Tavishima Ayede. Thanks for your time and attention. We're still new in the year, so I believe I can still say I hope you guys are having a cracking new year so far, and that I hope this run turns out to be a really profitable and beautiful one for us all. So you all enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll catch you at the next recording.